Ohio's biggest cities are bleeding crime. These cities keep releasing stats saying crime is going down, but headlines say otherwise. Cleveland, Columbus, Cincinnati, and the like. Different cities, same story. Gunshots, attacks, robbery, rising fear. Today we're taking a look at recent crimes and trying to figure out what is going on in Ohio.
The suspect, Michael Parker, fired a high-powered rifle at officers. Investigators found his vehicle loaded with multiple types of weapons, magazines, and explosive materials.
Police were called to the parking lot of Brandy's Ultra Sports Lounge. A man in his 40s was shot in the stomach and leg as he was walking over to his car from the bar. The man is hospitalized with life-threatening injuries. This shooting is one of at least 5 that have occurred in or near the bar since 2021, resulting in 2 deaths and 6 people injured.
Columbus, Ohio's capital with over 900,000 people, only has 2 officers for every 1,000 residents. Way below the national average. Crime's rough here, with 4.5 violent crimes. The police union's calling it a crisis. 88 officers gone since 2020, even with a 1 million recruitment push. Slower response times and rough neighborhoods do not leave the community feeling safe. Here are a few of the recent cases hitting their local news.
July of 2024, Alexa Stakely went to her babysitter's home to pick up her son. She put her son in the car, then went back inside because she forgot something. That's when authorities say her car was stolen with her child in the back. Police say 2 juveniles stole the car and Stakely ran after them. They ran her over and she later died. Last month, Dowling pled guilty to involuntary manslaughter. Other charges against him were dismissed. The judge told Dowling he should have called 911 when Stakely was hit, but he didn't.
Saturday, investigators say victims were shot in the legs, and Columbus police responded to reports of a shooting. Now, Cooper says that he's lived in the area for 4 years, and while shootings aren't unusual, he's never seen one with this many people injured.
Columbus spending more than $28 million on summer youth programs to keep kids away from gun violence. Well, just last month, police arresting 4 people, including 2 juveniles, accusing them of hiding loaded guns right here at City Hall. Screams heard outside City Hall last month as Columbus police body cameras record 4 people, including 2 teens, being arrested for carrying concealed weapons. Police say officers discovered 3 loaded guns, 2 in a backpack, hidden in bushes outside City Hall, and a 3rd pistol hidden underneath a hedge.
Oh, I found it right there. Leave it for a second. It's a gun.
Oh, nice. Court documents state one of the adult suspects caught on City Hall cameras tossed a weapon into some bushes. Police investigating a rash of alleged gun crimes involving juveniles within the past month. On Thursday, a 14-year-old was shot in the Hilltop during a drive-by shooting. And on Sunday, 16 juveniles arrested in northeast Columbus after fights broke out when shots were fired into the air. Felonious assaults, which include shootings and stabbings, down so far this year in Columbus. But when it comes to felonious assault suspects, ages 17 and under, those numbers spiking. There were 97 juvenile suspects this time last year to this year, where there are 138 teen suspects.
And all the fighting with the kids, I've witnessed that down here.
I mean, the kids these days, they kind of wild out. It's not the same how it used to be. Getting off work, I'm anxious. I'm looking around over my shoulder to see what's going on.
Workers at the banks support the curfew, saying they've had to close earlier in the day to avoid issues with teenagers causing problems outside.
Once they push them and clear them out, they come right back around the corners once the police leave and clear out.
The banks over the Rhine and downtown closed at 9 p.m. to anyone under 18. Everywhere else in the city, an 11 o'clock curfew for minors. The police chief says officers will use their training when approaching young people out late.
They might have a group of 10 or 12 that are downtown that look like they're causing some disorderly behavior. They might choose to handle that a different way, letting them know it's 9 o'clock.
For teens that won't leave on their own, police will take them to these community centers in the West End and Walnut Hills on Friday and Saturday nights.
I wonder if they're going to enforce it or be able to enforce it.
Get your kid at home. Don't let him come down to the square and hang out. That is not a place for children.
It's about time that a curfew was issued for all of these teens. In one of our previous shorts, we went over the chief talking about how parents just drop their kids off there late at night and leave them. A bunch of kids running around with nothing to do but get in trouble. What do you think about the curfew? Cincinnati has been in the news quite a bit the last few weeks. More body cam was released in the viral Brawl the media continues to call it. We'll watch some of that in a bit. But the city has 309,000 people, with their officer-to-resident ratio being 3.18. Better than most. But locals are complaining about delayed responses in high crime zones, where violent crime hits 8.7. The national average for violent crime rates in 2023 was 3.6 per 1,000 according to reports. Cincinnati also has community policing rules, thanks to a 2002 agreement, often prioritizing community policing to build trust and reduce tensions, especially in minority communities, with officers citing directives from the chief to focus on fairness, neutrality, and non-enforcement community engagement. But it's a strain when officers are already spread so thin. City leaders try to make sure police treat everyone fairly, as they should, but especially in neighborhoods where people feel like police haven't always been kind. This just seems to be focusing more on the past than the future. These policies take into account high poverty levels, gang activity, and the lack of jobs in these areas. But in our humble opinion, that shouldn't matter. Crime is crime. We grew up in extreme poverty, being exposed to violence, and yet here we are, law-abiding citizens. According to stats, our origin story isn't rare. Growing up like this does create hurdles, but humans are resilient and even with high adversity can achieve upward mobility.
He's 62! Greg is 62 years old! Get him! Get that little I didn't do it! Okay, bro. I'm a 62-year-old man.
I'm 62 years old. I was attacked. I got attacked by multiple people.
What led up to the fight?
Don't really know. Dude, it just been out of the bar and it just got crazy.
And that man talking is one of the men seen on other videos being attacked. He really didn't know what led to him being punched. Another man questioned by police said they were outside waiting for a lift when they were jumped.
3 children in Walnut Hills are in the hospital after they were run over by 24-year-old Jada Lucky. Video posted on social media before the incident shows Lucky getting into a fight with other women outside the Alms apartment complex around 2:30 Wednesday. Prosecutors say Lucky was trying to hit one of the women with her car and instead struck 3 children in the street, all under the age of 4. The detective working the case says Lucky admitted she'd been using alcohol and drugs all day. She told the judge, in addition to striking the children, Lucky also drove into that mother, and she said one of the kids may end up paralyzed.
She got in her car and plows right into everybody. The youngest of the 3 children was drugged underneath the car, and there's a possibility that he may not walk ever.
Lucky is charged with 4 counts of felonious assault.
Brandon Wilson's Kennedy Camp Road home about 8:15 by the mother of his children. She told 911 that she thought Wilson was intoxicated and had a rifle. She said Wilson ordered everyone out of the home and indicated he wanted to, quote, take out several deputies. The sheriff's office says Wilson fired about 40 shots in the direction of deputies, striking one of their vehicles. The sheriff says that Wilson eventually did come out carrying a knife and was arrested on several charges.
Hikers called 911 after finding a plastic tote in the woods in Montgomery County.
It's something dead in there, man.
Inside that tote, police found the body of pregnant 28-year-old Brittany Fior Storms. They say she was naked, wrapped in a cloth with a blue tarp, and the tote's lid was sealed with screws. On Tuesday, police arrested James Rothenbush and Rick Shepard in connection with her death.
Cleveland's even worse. With 367,000 residents, it has a high officer ratio of 3.24. But there were 323 vacancies in 2024. That's a fifth of their force missing. Violent crimes are 6.6, and officers are pulling 16-hour shifts. Even though they got a $3.75 million grant to add 30 new cops, the burnout's real. No wonder crime's still a problem here.
Shots fired, I'm hit. I'm hit. Losing consciousness.
1917 Taylor. 1917 Taylor, we have officer now.
Guy ambushed me in the drive. Opened fire as soon as he seen me.
Where's he at?
He went back behind the house. He had a handgun.
You know it's gonna hurt. You're good. Come on.
Who's that? Who's that?
You're right, son. Keep cover.
The suspect made a run for it after shooting the officer. 2 other shooting victims inside the home died.
Watch that yard. Watch that yard. To the left.
Officer Dorda makes it safely to medics and is taken by ambulance to University Hospital. But just about an hour and a half into the search for the gunman, just half a block away,
Officer shot and down. Yeah, I'm hit.
Officer Brandon Hernandez tried to hobble to safety after he was hit in the backside by a bullet.
You're good. Cover us. Use them sirens. Something. Just get us there. Didn't I tell you he was back there?
Yes, I told you too. Nobody wanted to listen.
Now, thankfully, we've learned both of those East Cleveland officers are expected to recover the suspected gunman. 24-year-old Aaron L. Sharp was arrested this morning after that overnight manhunt. The 2 murder victims found inside the home and allegedly shot by the same suspect have not been officially identified.
Just after 10 a.m. this morning, police were called to the Bedford AutoZone. A man shot a woman after meeting up with her in the AutoZone parking lot. She was shot once in the chest. The suspect then took off on foot.
It was lucky for us that his car was not movable at the time because it was blocked in by another vehicle, so he fled on foot and we were able to locate him very quickly.
The woman was unresponsive when first responders arrived and was pronounced dead at the hospital.
Toledo and Akron aren't much better, having an average of 2.2 officers. But with sky-high crimes of 42.44, auto thefts are a nightmare here, although stats say that murders have supposedly dropped. These high-crime areas are stretching cops to the limit. Both cities got federal grants, but recruitment's still a struggle.
42956, start code 3 for a person stabbed. Female caller states her boyfriend is stabbed. I'm trying to get additional. I'll give it to you en route. 605 Plymouth, code 3420.
Toledo police found 35-year-old Marcus White stabbed 5 times. He was dead before emergency crews could get him to treatment. The first of 6 homicides over the 4th of July holiday weekend.
Some people will say people are hot and they're agitated, or 4th of July weekend's always busy. But to have a weekend like we've just had, I don't think that you can put your finger on exactly what causes that type of activity, what causes it to flare up in the way that it did.
TPD later arrested 35-year-old Paris Johnson. He's charged with murder and felonious assault.
611-610, person shot, code 3, Baden South.
Just about 12 hours later, 3 teens shot and killed 17-year-old Jason Bennett. The suspects, 13, 14, and 17 years old. 2 young men died from gun violence the next morning, just after midnight. Someone shot 20-year-old Salvador Ruiz inside a car in East Toledo. Minutes later, another shooting in East Toledo.
122-217 for code 3, person shot. Personal line says friend is shot. Unknown who shot him.
20-year-old Amir Thomas Clare shot in a vehicle. An autopsy revealed he died from a gunshot wound to the back. A second person was critically injured. Then, Sunday morning, 1 a.m.
105, we have a couple people down, but it is 2 light spots.
Just got a report, no information on suspect, just heard multiple gunshots.
Shots ring out near Agenda Sports Bar and Grill on Matzinger in North Toledo. In all, TPD found 4 people shot. 31-year-old Christopher Bourne, the second, and 37-year-old Stefan Garrett died. Bourne shot in the head, Garrett in the back.
As the victim was walking near this storage facility, he heard footsteps and moved to the side, but allegedly came under attack by this person. The suspect, allegedly armed with a box cutter, began stabbing the victim several times to the victim's back, shoulder, face, and head. At one point, the victim was able to knock the weapon out of the suspect's hand. After that, the suspect ended up choking the victim. The victim then was able to squeeze the suspect's genitalia while being pinned down, causing the suspect to get off the victim and run.
Akron 911, what's the location of your emergency?
I just caught someone trying to break into my house, kicking in my door with guns in their hands, and they busted my window.
She caught two people trying to break into her home. Akron police say she then drove home to confront them. She told police one suspect fired 2 shots in the air before they jumped into a black Cadillac Escalade and took off. The woman then calls 911 back, but before she can fully explain what happened, the suspects come back and start shooting at her, all while the woman is still on the phone with 911.
Hello? They just came back shooting. Ma'am?
Yes, I got, listen.
Ma'am, they're shooting.
The woman took out her own gun and fired back at the Escalade.
They broke up his window.
The suspects drove away for the second time.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to breathe.
That's okay, take a slow, deep breath.
3 hours later, the woman makes a third call to 911.
Somebody was just shooting.
Okay.
It sounded like an automatic gun.
How many shots did you hear?
It was a whole bunch. It was several. It was too many to count. That's all I know. And
Okay.
I'm laying on the floor.
The bad guys came back for a third time. Now, luckily, the woman was not hurt, and throughout the night, police collected at least 15 bullet casings from her front yard.
Akron 911, what's the location of your emergency?
I've been shot.
Okay, ma'am, where are you?
I'm bleeding.
The victim's in stable condition. The 2 passengers got out of the vehicle, ran away, and disappeared. The frightening incident was the latest in a string of crimes committed against service drivers in Akron. In April, a pizza delivery driver was left with several injuries, run over after someone stole her car. In May, someone fired a rifle at a Lyft driver. She was hit by a bullet fragment, but not hurt. Last month, a driver was carjacked after picking up 2 men. And now, the shooting on Sanford Avenue. All of the cases are unsolved, but don't appear to be connected.
A sting operation in Jackson Township. 7 men arrested on Thursday. A multi-day operation that Jackson Township targeted people hoping to meet up with underage girls.
To have 7 people show up in a 2-night period to have sex with minors is amazing to me.
The men are accused of using their cell phones to solicit from undercover cops posing as underage girls at a Jackson Township hotel. Police say 2 of the 7 men were in the U.S. illegally. They were referred to the Department of Homeland Security Enforcement and removal operations for deportation.
Even with these cities receiving grants and pushing for reforms, it doesn't seem to be enough. Some argue federal grants to cities like these lack accountability and don't reduce crime. Columbus and Cleveland sometimes offer alternatives to jail for smaller offenses, like job training for shoplifting or rehab for low-level drug possessions instead of prison time, in hopes that they don't reoffend. But all too often, we see reoffenders being arrested time and time again.
Black is accused of stabbing Patrick Herringer to death in Herringer's home in early June. He'd been released from prison earlier this year after serving about 9 years for felonious assault and rioting, but cut off his ankle bracelet and went AWOL in February, with his parole officer issuing a warrant and putting his name on a national database. Police records I obtained through open records requests show CPD officers responded to a call by Black's girlfriend in April for a possible domestic disturbance, which apparently showed that warrant and other probation violations.
The police officer who was doing the search was communicated to me that they did not see that the suspect, Mordecai Black, had indeed violated his parole. If they had seen that, obviously, we would have taken some action.
Thiche noted Black left before officers arrived and says it's not uncommon for outstanding warrants to be missed on a quick computer check by officers and that such checks may turn up several different warrants.
What we do not have the ability to do is drop everything and go look for that person at that moment.
The incident report states Black and his girlfriend fought after she discovered him naked with another woman, and he went through the fire escape and was not there when officers arrived. Both Mayor Piraval and Chief Thiche say there still need to be permanent changes to that made into law in Columbus, but they also say CPD is looking at ways to improve how officers examine computer records on the fly. Black is due back in court August 12th for a plea or trial setting. He faces the prospect of life in prison without parole as prosecutors decline to ask for the death penalty.
This was the scene just after midnight on April 9th of last year. Columbus police say 24-year-old Dedrick Robinson shot into this apartment building first. Then Keontae Lee and another man, Terrell Thomas, came out and shot back. Robinson was killed by a gunshot wound to his head. Both men were arrested and later pleaded guilty to lesser charges. Terrell Thomas now serving at least 8 years in prison for his role. Police reports show the deadly gunshot came from his gun. Lee pleaded guilty to reckless homicide and attempted felonious assault. He will now serve 5 years of community control.
Once again, an individual commits a violent crime as a recidivative offender, and what do? We give them a sweetheart deal and we put them back on the street.
FOP President Brian Steele clearly unhappy about this move.
Sends a loud and clear message to the community that we are going to put your safety at risk in order to try to give someone a second shot.
Steele has been vocal about his concerns with community control as a sentence for violent offenders. Most recently, after learning Devontae Dixon, the suspect accused in shooting 2 Mifflin Township police officers, had been sentenced to community control on 3 felony charges just last year.
Yeah, you have to balance compassion. You have to balance accountability. We understand that. We're seeing this over and over and over. This is now a pattern.
After that incident, he sent this letter to leaders in the local criminal justice system.
Do you feel like any of your concerns are being heard within the prosecutor's office?
I had a great conversation with the prosecutor. Again, we just have different theories of how we believe law enforcement is. Again, the prosecutor believes in the transformative justice. I believe you do the crime, you do the time. We try to rehabilitate you if we can, which is what prison is.
Just 2 weeks ago on July 24th, this news station did an investigation into why there were so many parolees missing.
And they were placed on supervised release and are now on the run from their parole officers. A recent murder is raising questions about the state's ability to keep you safe.
He was stabbed to death while protecting his family from a violent, deranged criminal.
A criminal on the run charged with killing the man she loved.
My husband, Patrick, was brutally murdered in our home on June 4th.
The man accused was called a violator at large, convicted of a violent felony. He and others are supposed to be under state supervision. They are convicted drug traffickers, rapes, burglars, and domestic violence abusers. Some are considered dangerous and possibly armed, but the state's fugitive task force has no idea where nearly 2,000 of them are.
No, we don't know where they are, but we are continuously looking for those folks.
More than 500 fled this year.
Is that acceptable?
Well, I wouldn't talk about it in terms of being acceptable. It is kind of the real number.
Roger Wilson is the head of parole and community services. He says the numbers have remained steady because he says hundreds of parole violators are arrested every year.
Where is the supervision failure if they're allowed to just skip and no one knows where they are?
Well, I wouldn't characterize it as allowing them to skip. We do a really good job of supervising folks. If we have reason to believe that community safety will be enhanced by putting more people on ankle monitors, then we would certainly consider that.
Champaign County Prosecutor Kevin Talibi disagrees.
I don't know how DRC can say there's not a public safety concern, particularly when they're folks that they're putting on ankle monitor are been identified by DRC as targeted violent offenders.
The Department of Correction tells us it has 22,000 people under supervision across the state. And when they lose contact, the outcome can have deadly consequences.
My home, my sanctuary, was invaded and my husband died for it.
Black was placed on post-release control with an ankle monitor. Prison officials say in February he cut it off. The Department of Corrections responded by entering his name in a nationwide database that police have access to.
By entering a nationwide warrant, that effectively notifies other law enforcement agencies that the Adult Parole Authority wants this person.
But police say they never saw the alert. Reports also showed police knew Black had a warrant for his arrest 2 months prior to the murder. He was never arrested. The victim's widow is calling for change.
Your inaction cost a man his life.
Her case forced the Department of Corrections to change its policy.
We followed that up with a phone call to local PD.
10 TV searched the Department of Corrections webpage. It says these 21 people under supervision have been on the run since 2016. That's nearly a decade without a trace.
The longer someone is gone, oftentimes the colder the case goes.
In Ohio, being placed on supervision doesn't mean everyone meets with a parole officer face to face. Some can check in by phone.
We do believe that's an efficient way to supervise parolees because only the lowest level people on our caseloads are qualified for the phone in.
But that's not entirely true.
State of Ohio versus Sh0ts Cumberlander.
2020 10 Investigates profiled the case of Sh0ts Cumberlander. He was assigned a telephone reporting despite having multiple convictions for felonies, including aggravated assault and cocaine possession. In October 2019, he was charged with the shooting death of his on-again, off-again girlfriend. Toledo says this kind of supervision needs to end.
The parole officers need to get out from behind their desks. They need to go out into the field and actually have contact with these folks.
As for Sarah Herringer, she's pleading for change so her tragedy doesn't happen to someone else.
He died protecting his family in a city that did not protect him.
This man talking for the state's fugitive task force seems to be delusional. He doesn't seem to find a problem or take any responsibility for the fact that over 2,000 people are missing from their parole program. And apparently you can just cut off your ankle monitor and run. So why would they continue to do this program? And the fact that they're doing visitation with their parolees over the phone and not in person seems very irresponsible. What do you think about how this guy's responding to the questions? High crime areas require more officers per capita, and recruitment is at an all-time low. While some stats show small drops in certain categories, overall crime in these cities remains significantly higher than the state average. Cleveland's violent crime rate in 2024 was more than 3 times the Ohio state rate. Columbus continues to log thousands of violent incidents each year. Cincinnati battles gun violence hotspots. More police officers should be stationed in these areas on foot or bikes to cut down on response times. For many people living in these cities, the reality is hearing gunshots at night, car break-ins on their streets, and seeing violent crimes on the local news. It feels like the problem is far from solved. And until residents start feeling that change in their neighborhoods, the perception will remain that crime is out of control. What do you think? Are these cities losing the battle against crime because of understaffing, policies, or both? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you appreciated this breakdown, please like and subscribe for more true crime videos. Stay vigilant, stay safe, and we'll see you next time.